Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Amanda's Paper Crafting. And today we're going to be covering heat embossing and some tips and tricks that we can do with heat embossing. So what we're going to need for today is our heating tool, some Versamark or whatever watermark stamp pad brand you may like to use, some embossing powder, and a stamp. I'll be using a clear stamp today, but you can use rubber stamp as well, whatever works for your project. So let's get to it. First, we're going to take our cardstock and we're going to use this embossing buddy. I find this is really helpful. We're just going to gently coat it over our piece of cardstock here. This helps keep like stray pieces of the embossing powder from sticking to your paper. That's why that's helpful. And see, we're going to take our stamp and our Versamark, and we want to make sure to get a good coat of the embossing, or excuse me, of the Versamark on our stamp here. We're just going to stamp that right in the middle here. Applying a decent amount of pressure. As you can see, you can kind of see the Versamark on there. Now I'm going to start with silver today. Emboss with the color silver. So we've got some silver embossing powder here. I'm just going to sprinkle over our tree here. And make sure that we get a good even coat. Brush off any excess. I did this on top of a folded piece of paper so we can just dump the leftover embossing powder right back into our little jar. Just like that. Here we go. This is what we have so far. So we've got the image stamped in our Versamark. We've got it covered in the embossing powder. We're going to take our heat tool. Now, I like to let mine warm up just a little bit. So I run it just for a quick bit. And I come down on the end here. Here we go. So now with the heat embossing and the silver, you can see where it created a silver tree. Nice shine there. Yeah. Okay, so that's heat embossing 101. Now here's a couple other things you can do with heat embossing. You can stamp an image. I went ahead and pre-stamped this tree here in Ponderosa Pine, since we've got this all dirty with Versamark. Now from here, we're going to stamp it a second time and invert with the Versamark. Now I just eyeball it. Some people do have a stamping setup where they can stamp in the exact same spot. If that's your case, then go for it. All right, so I'm just going to line that up right over my stamped image. Give it a little pressure to make sure it covers the whole image. So we've got the green stamped image that I had pre-stamped before, covered in the Versamark. Now from here, we're going to use clear embossing powder for this one. We're just going to sprinkle the clear on there. Make sure we get a good coat. Tap it off to the side. And we're going to do the same thing. Now if you can see, it's kind of got like a, I don't know if you can, if the video really shows it, but it's kind of like a cloudy look to it because of the embossing powder. But with the heat, it's still going to be a shiny dark green. And here we go. You can see the shine of the heat emboss on there. And this is helpful because if you have a particular ink color, which this one was done in Ponderosa Pine, but you don't have the coordinating embossing powder, you can emboss it in clear on top of your stamped image, and then you end up with the image in the color that you were wanting. All right, so this third one we're going to use the ink machine for. Now, let's get our embossing buddy. Again, we're just going to cover this real quick. Just drag it along there. Again, we're going to stamp in our Versamark, get a good coverage on that. This time we're going to emboss this tree in clear. And I've got a little tray for my clear here because I use clear quite a bit. You can clean these trays out and dump the embossing powder right back into your little jar. All right, so we've got our image stamped in Versamark and covered in our clear embossing powder. You don't want to overheat your embossed image. You want it to shine, and hopefully a solid shine. So here we go. You can see how it shines with the clear embossing powder. Now, like I said, this trick is done with the make machine. So I'm going to pull out the make machine for this one. So bear with me here a minute. We're going to set our make machine to 2. Now I'm using a piece of scrap green Heidi Swap reactive foil for this next step. So we just got this little piece of green foil. We are going to take that, cover our embossed tree, okay, and then we're going to tuck it into our carrier sleeve. Now you'll see my carrier sleeve's quite messy. I've only had my mink machine for about a month now, so I'm still in the learning stages. I'm really enjoying it, so I will let our mink machine heat up here. A couple things about embossing while we're waiting for that to heat up is it's really important that we clean off our stamps with the Versamark. Normally I would go and do that right this moment, but I will here after I'm done showing you what our next steps. But with the Versamark, I like to clean with just a gentle dishwashing soap and warm water, rinse it off, dry it off, let it air dry, and then clean my block off and put my stamp back on its carrier sheet. All right, so our mink machine's heated up. We've got our, let me back this up so you can see a little better. So I've got the tree under here. I've got the foil on top. I've got this dark green scrap piece underneath just to add extra support. And I am going to run it through from setting 2. You can kind of see the tree image in there. It's not really showing up that well on the video, but I'm going to run it through a second time on setting 2. Now I'm going to take that out and I'll let it cool off, right? Let's cool off just for a few seconds. In the meantime, I will turn this off and set it to the side. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. So we're going to take that foil off. And now we have the image foiled. Now, as you can tell, it's not a perfect foiling. It's kind of more of a rustic type of look to it. However, I like it. And I had done it earlier and cut it out because these little tree stamps, I've got the coordinating die set, and it came out just like this. So yeah, we've got our silver tree, we've got our foiled tree, and we've got our stamped and embossed and clear tree. Now, if you have any questions, comments, any other tips, feel free to put them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.